When Lauren's message popped up on my phone that evening, I froze. Going on a trip with my ex. Don't be jealous. It wasn't just the words. It was the arrogance dripping from them. For 3 years, I had been patient, understanding, and loyal. I worked overtime shifts, handled bills, and tried my best to keep our relationship balanced. Yet, here she was, casually announcing a romantic getaway with the man she once cried over, the man she claimed had broken her heart beyond repair. I stared at her text, my chest tight, my palms cold. Did she really think I would just smile and wave as she packed her bags for someone else? A bitter laugh escaped me. For months, I had noticed her phone turning upside down when I entered the room, the late-night whispers, the sudden excuses to stay out late. I had tried to convince myself I was imagining things, that I was being paranoid. But now, she had written the truth with her own hands, without shame. The audacity of it all burned inside me. She wasn't asking permission. She was mocking me, as if I were some naive fool who would wait for her return like nothing had happened. She expected jealousy, maybe a desperate plea for me not to go. But I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. My fingers trembled as I typed back. Don't worry, I won't be here when you get back. I didn't overthink it. I didn't edit it. I just pressed send and felt a strange calmness wash over me. For once, I had flipped the script. I could almost imagine her smirk turning into confusion as she read my reply. She was used to holding the power, used to me swallowing my pride just to keep her happy. But not this time. My words were not a bluff. They were a promise. That night, I packed quietly. Every shirt was folded neatly, every drawer emptied without a trace. I looked around our apartment in Burlington, Vermont, our supposed love nest, and realized how many red flags I had ignored within these walls. Her perfume lingering on the couch cushions, the framed photos where she smiled wider than I ever had. Everything felt staged now. Fake. By midnight, my bags were in the car. My decision wasn't born out of anger alone. It was clarity. Lauren thought she had me cornered, that she could toy with my emotions while keeping me as her safety net. She had no idea that with a single message, she had destroyed the illusion of control she held. The next morning, my phone lit up with a flood of messages from Lauren. At first, they were playful. Wait, what do you mean you won't be here? Then came the confusion. Are you seriously upset about this? It's just a trip. And finally, the panic. Where are you? Answer me, please. I didn't reply. I was already on the highway, leaving behind not just the apartment, but the years of compromise, the countless times I put her happiness above my dignity. My silence spoke louder than anything I could have written. I rented a small place across town in Montpelier, Vermont. Nothing fancy, but peaceful. For the first time in a long while, I felt light. There was no constant checking of her moods, no walking on eggshells to avoid an argument, no waiting for affection that rarely came. Freedom had a strange taste. Sharp, almost bitter. But it was mine. 2 days later, a mutual friend, Ethan, called me. His voice carried a mix of disbelief and pity. Man, Lauren's blowing up everywhere. She told people you left her because she went on a harmless trip. She's saying you overreacted. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Harmless? She went with her ex. What did she expect me to do? Send them flowers? Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that stayed with me. Honestly, everyone can see what she did. She's just embarrassed you didn't play the role she wanted. You didn't beg. You didn't fight. You walked away. That's what's eating her alive." And he was right. Lauren had always thrived on control. The drama, the chaos, the apologies. Those were her tools to keep me tied to her. But this time, I hadn't given her a stage to perform on. I had left her in silence, and that silence was louder than any fight we could have had. Later that week, she showed up at my new place in Montpelier. I didn't let her in. Through the door, her voice cracked, shifting from anger to desperation. "You can't just walk away from everything we built." It was just a trip. I needed space. I needed clarity. Her words were hollow. Space, clarity. She hadn't needed space when she leaned on me to pay her rent, when she borrowed my car for her errands, when she cried on my shoulder about how cruel the world was. No. The only time she needed space was when her ex resurfaced. I stood there listening, but unmoved. This wasn't about love anymore. This was about respect. And once it was gone, there was no rebuilding it. Days turned into weeks, and Lauren's messages grew shorter, colder, almost bitter. What began as pleas soon turned into accusations. "You never really loved me. You're heartless. I bet you were waiting for an excuse to leave." But her words didn't sting the way she intended. For once, I could read her attempts to wound me without letting them pierce. She was unraveling, and I was finally free. I poured myself into work, into rebuilding my routines, into rediscovering the parts of me I had lost, while bending myself around her moods. I started hitting the gym again, seeing friends I'd neglected, even taking quiet walks in the evenings without explaining where I was going. That simple freedom, just existing without being monitored, criticized, or guilt-tripped, was worth more than anything she had offered me. One evening, Ethan texted me a screenshot from Lauren's social media. She had posted a picture with her ex, captioned with some vague line about finding herself. And true love, never dying. The comments, though, weren't as supportive as she probably imagined. People questioned her choices, called her out for disrespect, even mocked her for chasing what had already failed once. I didn't comment. I didn't message. I didn't even feel angry. I just closed the screen and smiled. The universe has its own way of exposing the truth. A month later, Lauren appeared again at my door, but this time she wasn't angry. She was broken. Her voice trembled as she admitted the trip hadn't gone the way she dreamed. Old habits, old fights, old wounds between her and her ex had resurfaced almost instantly. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I thought he'd changed, but he hasn't. You were the stable one, the one who cared. Please give me another chance." I looked at her for a long moment. There was a time when those words would have been everything I wanted to hear. But not now. Now they were too late. "I did love you," I said quietly. "But love isn't enough when respect is gone. And you made your choice when you got on that plane. I made mine when I walked away." Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't waver. She left that night, and I closed the door behind her. Not with anger, not with regret, but with finality. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing, fixing, or waiting. I was simply living. And that, I realized, was the sweetest revenge.